I'm so glad you came. Oh my god, traffic is just absolutely atrocious. I just cannot be here on time. I tried my hardest. I left work early. I can't do it. I'm sorry, but it's just not an option. So I hope everybody doesn't mind if I'm going to be late every week.
I don't mind. I don't mind at all.
Well, thank you, Sarah. I appreciate that. So, where's Kyle?
I think he's coming late today. I don't know.
Oh, weird. He comes late. He never contributes when he's here. I really don't think he's committed to the group, and I'm really angry with him about it. It's so disappointing.
Yeah, me too. He doesn't seem committed.
Yeah, it's too bad.
Come in.
Hey y'all, sorry I'm late. So did I miss anything yet?
Not really. We were just kind of chatting.
We were just talking about you.
I bet you were. My worst fears have come true at work. Somebody quit. Things are just going nuts. So I guess it's difficult to say to Kyle the feelings you had when he wasn't here.
I think sometimes you hold yourself in because you don't want to let go in here. Because you'll be able to cope when you go back to work. I really feel depressed after the last session. I was wondering whether you and Michael were getting anything out of it. Because you don't speak as much. And I was thinking, I speak too much.
Me too.
Well, for myself, I think it's much the same. It's just our nature to be quieter. I know I think a lot about what goes on here. Though I may not say much while I'm in here, it does help. Margaret, you changed how you were feeling. Originally you said that you were angry, and you changed it to depression. And though I'm sure there's a link between your depression and your anger, maybe what's harder to say is that you're angry at Kyle and Michael for what you don't get from them, rather than what you don't give to them. The fact that you don't hear what they're thinking, what they're feeling, and I guess it's more difficult again to express being angry at members of the group.
Maybe. I guess I was feeling, what's this group? Is it even helping me? I hadn't expressed how I felt last week, so I was hoping I could express more how I feel this week. Because it helps you when you can say how you feel.
It's also very frightening from what we're hearing. Fearing that if you were to express how you feel, even though we heard it does make you feel better, I think you're afraid that you won't be able to stop crying. And we've talked about this before. To express anger means you become homicidal. If you express sadness, you won't stop crying. You'll float away in your own tears. So while it may be particularly true for Kyle, I think all of you are having the fear that it stops you from expressing the feelings you have for each other and about the people in your past.
Margaret interrupts by talking about how she cared for her son's kids when his wife was having another baby.
My hunch is, Margaret, that you're sort of being the role of surrogate mother here as well. What I mean by that is, you sort of protect the group. You sort of express what you're a little bit angry, and like when you're angry with Kyle and Michael for not talking, but at the same time, you don't push them, and you sort of protect them by pursuing that line. Michael said a little bit about his father, and now that Kyle sounded angry with Lois, you intervene again, the peacekeeper, by talking about yourself and getting them off the hook. My hunch is that the role of mother is quite familiar to you, and in a sense you take it on in this group too, and of course, the group allows you to do that. Michael recounts the death of his father and the estrangement from his wife. There is a discussion about whether death or divorce is easier to cope with. Well, you're sort of saying that with separation, their hope remains, and the ambiguity is more difficult to deal with, and then you have many mixed feelings about your wife. I think that those mixed feelings are there with the deaths as well. We've heard about the sadness, the guilt, I'm sure some relief that those children did not live. So though it may be easier to see after a separation, I think there are a lot of mixed feelings after death, including anger at being alone.
Well, yeah. I think I was mad at my mom too, because she was sick a long time before she was even diagnosed with cancer. She wouldn't go to the doctor. No, I have to go to work, I have to go to work. So there, so run yourself into the ground, but heaven forbid you go to the doctor. It really made me mad.
Maybe she had to go to cope with...
I don't know, she was...
But work can be therapeutic.
No, what was wrong?
Well, work can be an escape,
I think it can be difficult to hear Sarah expressing anger with her mother.
Sarah continues to express anger with her mother, but quickly changes her focus to anger with her father.
I called and my dad said, "Oh, we took Mother to the hospital last night." He didn't even call me and tell me anything was wrong. I'd call every week and ask him, "Is it cancer?" And he'd say, "Oh, no."
Sarah continues describing her father's response to the various hospitalizations and tests conducted on her mother as one whereby she was kept in the dark.
So even though your father wanted to protect you, he actually hurt you more by not allowing you the time to prepare for your mother's death. I'm wondering if there's a message in there for me as well, that perhaps I'm trying to protect you from the news about Alice by not telling you where she is, but then I'm not allowing you time to prepare for her death from the group. I guess it's difficult to confront me with your anger that I'm not telling you as much in the same way to protect you from your dad, for the anger that he didn't tell you about your mom.
I keep forgetting about her.
I get worried when you keep bringing it up all the time.
Each time you bring it up, I realize that since she's not here, I just probably shouldn't even think about her.
But what's worse, blocking it out?
Or talking about it.
Or tormenting yourself all the time. Well, you talk about anger. I felt such great anger.
Margaret described what had happened when she went for tests during the 8th month of her 5th pregnancy. No one would tell her any of the results until finally the doctor came and told her that the fetus was encephalic.
After I heard, I foolishly took the bus. I don't know why I don't take taxis in moments of crisis in my life. And I started to cry, and I'm sitting there pregnant and crying. And the whole bus is, "Are you alright?" And I'm like, "Oh, yeah, I'm fine." And I remember thinking that this was probably the one year they were talking about God being dead. And I thought, if he isn't dead, I'll kill him.
That's an awful lot of anger.
It was Alice that triggered your memory. I think that the connection is that you're probably angry with me for not protecting Ellen first, and then Alice not being good enough mom to hold this family together. And again, it's difficult to confront me with your anger. In much the same way, you can't confront your father or your mother, the other people in your life who have let you down. The rational side of your mind, which is stopping yourself from expressing the feeling you're feeling, and it must be partly be the anger.
Maybe it's my anger at Alice. She should have been able to come here today. I worry about her because she mentioned suicide, and even though she said she'd never consider it, I still find it pretty scary. If she does, I would be so mad.
I think I was mad at my mom, just because she never told me the truth. Even when I'd call her, and nobody else would call me and say, Mom's really sick. She's losing a lot of weight. She's really weak. She can't get out of bed anymore, and nobody did. It was like when she got admitted to the hospital the last time, she was in there for 3 or 4 days before my dad even called. He didn't even call me. I called.
Did he think you'd have trouble accepting it?
Oh yeah, he'd start walking to see her because that's where my mom used to work, to pick her up.
He'd forget?
He'd forget. And then he'd say he'd remember, and then he'd be really disoriented, like, where should I go? Where is there to go? I was just expecting him to fall apart. Sarah, you can't get angry with your mom because she's not there to be angry with. And you can't get angry with your dad. The thing is, with bowel cancer, it's 99% curable if it's caught in time. So that's why I was so upset. She had gone months and months without going to the doctor. She was supposed to go every 6 months for her blood pressure pills. She'd call and say, "I'm too busy at work," and the doctor would call, and he would just repeat the prescriptions. I think I was just as mad at my dad. Even now, I can't talk about my mom to my dad. I just start talking about it, and I see his face and all the pain, and I can't say, "I was pissed off at you." I was pissed off at you for months.
Sounds like you're mad at your dad, or maybe even mad at yourself.
Well, I think that a lot of the times when I called, I'd want to ask my mom exactly what was going on. But because she didn't want to bring it up, I didn't want to. What do you say? "So, did you lose 10 pounds? Are you sicker?" You can't say that to someone who's dying of cancer.
All right, we're going to continue this next week.